All right, this video is going to go over converting ellipses to standard form. So generally what that looks like is something like x squared over a plus y squared over b, and you want it equal to 1. And a and b don't have to be here. They could switch places, but a is always the bigger number. We'll get into more about like what that means on the next video where I actually go over ellipses. This is just how to convert. So let's get started. We're going to start with the real basic, just how to complete the square. So this is just a simple quadratic, and you've probably seen how to complete the square before, but let's just go through it real quick. All right, if you want to complete the square, you need to know FOIL. So here's what you do. You take this part right here, just the things with the x's. So x squared plus 8x. And you want to imagine like if you had a perfect square that could FOIL to get to somewhere close to that. Let me show you what I mean. If you imagine this as x plus 4 squared, I didn't touch this other minus 2 out here. Basically, if you think about this red part FOILed, the f of the FOIL would make x squared. The outside inside would make plus 4x plus 4x. That right there is x squared plus 8x, just like you started with. But what the difference is the L of the FOIL is going to make a plus 16. You have to account for this on the outside by minusing 16. You can't just add 16 to an equation. So if you think about it, by calling this a perfect square, you're adding 16 randomly, so you have to cancel it here on the outside. So this one fully completed would be x plus 4 squared minus 18 equal to 0. So I hope that wasn't too confusing, because if you can't do that one, you really can't do any of these, because what's about to happen is you're going to have to do it twice in one equation. So let me show you what I mean. Okay, look at the second one. I've got x squareds and y squareds. So the first thing you need to do is you kind of need to group them. So like x squared minus 4x, and then group the y's as well. So like plus y squared plus 6y. And then you could either move this minus 3 to the other side or just keep it there. It doesn't really matter yet. So all I've done was rewrite the problem and group my letters together. Now, you're going to double complete the square here. So this first one, to do it, you just basically half this number and call it a perfect square. So like x minus 2 squared. Don't be the guy that puts like x squared minus 2x. That's wrong. When you complete the square like this, just call it x1. All right, so this first one would be x minus 2 squared, but then the L of this FOIL, if you thought about like x minus 2 times x minus 2, yeah, this first part makes the x squared minus 2x minus 2x. That's this, great. But then you also have the L of the FOIL is a plus 4 right here. So on the outside, you're going to have to minus 4 like that. I shouldn't have used blue. Let's use green. Minus 4. So this right here is the exact same thing as this right here. If you FOILed it out, it would be the same thing. All right, I'm going to complete the square on this one as well. So it'd be half that 6, so y plus 3 squared. Now the L of this FOIL, let's see, y plus 3 times y plus 3. This would make y squared plus 3y plus 3y plus 9. So on the outside, you have to minus 9. You can't just add 9 to an equation. So this right here is the same as this right here. It's just another way of looking at it. Oops. Okay, I'm going to have to rewrite that. So it's plus y plus 3 squared minus 9. And then you had your, from the beginning, the minus 3 equals to 0. All right, so now you can rewrite this and group all your like terms here. So it can be x minus 2 squared plus y plus 3 squared minus 16 equals 0. All right, so now you're just going to move this minus 16 to the other side. And your final step here is to divide everything by 16. Because you want it equal to 1. So my final answer here would look like this. X minus 2 squared over 16 plus y plus 3 squared over 16 equals to 1. This would be my final answer. And that's in standard form. And now I could graph that. I would know that like I have a center of this at 2, -3. And it's a circle. I know that because my A and my B distance are the same. And we'll get into more on what that means in the later videos, but I just want to show you completing the square because it's kind of tricky. All right, let's move on. That was considered an easy one. Let's look at number 3. This is where they start to step it up a little bit. So all right, the first thing I would do is I would rewrite it and group my letters. Okay, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to complete these squares. So this one right here would be x minus 3 squared, and the L of that FOIL would make a plus 9, so you need a minus 9 on the outside. Now, the reason why this one's going to be a little trickier is because right here, you have to GCF a 4 out, this number right here. So it'd look like this. We're going to take this one a little slow and do one step at a time. So we completed the x square. That one's done. It's good. Now we still have to complete the y square. So you complete this right here. It's a little trickier to see because it's an odd number, 5, but you still just split it in half. So it'd be like y plus 5 halves squared. And the L of this FOIL right here would be 5 halves times 5 halves, which is 25 over 4. So you have to minus 25 over 4. I actually forgot a parentheses there. So again, you split the 5 in half, so it becomes 5 halves. And then if you think about the L of that FOIL, it would be 5 halves times 5 halves, which is 25 over 4. That's what I'm subtracting on the outside. Now, we're still not quite done here. You're going to have to go and redistribute this 4. And so the first part still doesn't change. It's still good. But now the second part, just leave this first distribution here. Just leave the 4 on the outside, like 4 y plus 5 halves squared. And then when you distribute it to the second one, it's going to make 4 times negative 25 over 4 is minus 25. And then you still have your minus 2 equals to 0. All right. Now you can group all your like terms, these numbers. Let's see, that's going to make 36 minus 36. Now you can move the minus 36. Now you have to make it equal to 1, so you're going to divide everything by 36. So when it's all said and done, my answer would look like this. X minus 3 squared over 36. Now this one's going to reduce. It's going to become like a 1 on top and a 9 on bottom. So second part becomes y plus 5/2 squared over 9, and it equals to that 1. That was a hard one. The next one's even more difficult. Okay, on this last one, I'm just going to go ahead and group it right from the start. So it'd look like this. Okay. You're going to start by GCFing these. If there's a coefficient in front of the square, you have to GCF it out. So I don't know what's happening here. My computer's freezing, so let's just keep moving. I just can't use undo. All right, so GCF it first. And you GCF each one separate. So like that 9 and the 4. All right, so now that you're here, you're going to double complete both of these squares. So it looks like this. 9 in front. Complete the square and you would get x plus 2 squared minus 4. Okay, and the second one's going to be complete the square and you get y minus 3 squared minus 9. Okay, now you have to redistribute those lead coefficients, so it's going to look like this. Okay, now you can group these three like terms. Now you move that minus 36. Now you divide by that 36 because you want it equal to 1. And I'm going to reduce and write my final answers. Like this one's going to be 1 over 4. This one's going to be 1 over 9. So my final answer here is x plus 2 squared over 4 plus y minus 3 squared over 9 equals to that 1. And yeah, that one was pretty difficult, but to be honest with you, that's a realistic problem. That's how you're going to see them. You're going to have 2 lead coefficients most likely, so you'll have to GCF them out first. And then once you've GCF'd them, you have to complete both squares. That's red there. Then you're going to have to redistribute. Then you can go and combine like terms and simplify and make it equal to 1. So it's a super important skill to know, and I hope this video helped.